or on
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good day and welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Guyana has already commenced the payment of decommissioning fees, even though ExxonMobil's subsidiary and operator of the Stabroek Block, Esso, may abandon the subsea equipment on the seafloor. Anthony Jackson, the project manager of Esso, said on Monday during a public scoping session for the sixth project that these costs must be deducted even though decommissioning is not a fixed plan. Decommissioning refers to the cleanup and restoration of the environment following the life of an oil project. At previous consultations, Exxon said it may leave its equipment on the seafloor as marine life often tend to make this their new habitat. And even though the EPA has already approved an application by Esso to transport natural gas from the Liza fields in the Stabroek Block to the Wales development site on the west bank of Demerara, the operator is still in the process of completing its gas leak management plan. Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat recently told the National Assembly that the oil company is not only conducting this study itself, but is also funding the plan. His comment came in response to a question from opposition Member of Parliament David Patterson, who asked for an update on the document and for the minister to state the source of financing. In other news, a car that was hijacked on Monday by three men armed with a knife was recovered hours later in a couple's yard at Cooper Street, Alboystown. The car, a Toyota Allion bearing registration number PRR 5212, was reportedly hijacked around 18 hours at Camp Street, Georgetown from 33-year-old Stephen Clark. Clark told police that the car is owned by a resident of Sophia, but he uses it to work private hire in the Diamond community. Clark claimed that the three men entered the car soon after the woman exited, one in the front passenger seat and two in the back. The man seated in front, then placed a knife to his neck and told him to exit the car. Fearful for his life, Clark obeyed and the men drove away with the vehicle. Police took possession of the stolen car and arrested both of them as investigations continue. And just before we head to a short break, let's tell you Assistant Commissioner of Police Edgar Thomas, in his testimony before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the events surrounding the March 2020 elections, on Monday revealed that a relative of a former Deputy Permanent Secretary was fingered in the bomb scare that disrupted proceedings during the tabulation exercise at Ashman's Building. Ashman's Building was GCIM's command center and the seat of the Region 4 returning officer, Claremont Mingo. The Assistant Commissioner of Police, who had previously testified before on the Commission of Inquiry, was called again to the stand to give further evidence. He also revealed that the former Deputy Permanent Secretary had called him requesting bail for her relative, who was a suspect in the bomb threat at the GCIM Command Center. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. We'll return shortly after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Shane James, the 26-year-old police constable of Perth Village, Mycone, was on Tuesday placed on $1.6 million after being shocked by a GPL high-voltage wire while working on a Regent Street building on Tuesday. The injured worker has been identified as Leon Turpin. Reports are that the incident occurred around 9:20 at a multi-story building located next to Royal Jewel House on Regent Street. In a brief statement on its Facebook page, the power company said that at approximately 9:20, a network disturbance disrupted service to customers in sections of Georgetown and the entire West Bank and West Coast of Demerara. Once again, GPL implores contractors to observe the necessary safety precautions to avoid injury and unnecessary service disruptions, GPL said in a statement. Following weeks of opposition, DCOM chairperson Claudette Singh on Tuesday rescinded her decision to appoint IT manager Anil Giddings as operations coordinator. And the commission also approved a work plan for the conduct of local government elections. Opposition-nominated commissioners made it clear that the approval of the plan was done through a majority vote, stating that they abstained on the grounds that a fresh list and a mechanism to curtail multiple voting is a sine qua non for the holding of any election. And in other news, a newborn girl has been rescued from under a collapsed building in Syria, with her mother having given birth while buried under the rubble in wake of the devastating earthquakes that struck the country and Turkey. The baby was found buried under the debris with her umbilical cord still connected to her mother, who was found dead. Footage shared online shows rescuers lifting the dust-choked newborn to safety as they scaled the mounting debris of buildings crumbled by a devastating earthquake. The baby was the only member of her family to survive the building collapse on Monday. Genderi, located in the rebel-held enclave of northwest Syria, was hard hit in the quake, with multiple buildings destroyed. The baby had bruises, including a large one on her back, but she is in stable condition, according to Dr. Hani Marouf, the physician treating her, who believes the baby had been born about 3 hours before being found, given how far her temperature had dropped. And now let's tell you, during the opening hours, that should be during the opening of tenders on Monday at the NPTAB office, it was revealed that the CHNPA is looking to spend approximately $3.1 billion on the East Bank of Demerara 4-lane road project. According to the NPTAB information, the project is for the construction of a 4-lane road at Great Diamond. We understand that this project would be an extension of the current roadway that is being built from Eccles to Diamond. This project has been divided into 5 lots and has attracted a total of 5 contractors. And in other news, some 450 residents of Kaieteur, Region 8, now have improved access to potable water following the commissioning of a new water supply system. Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, said that by the end of 2023, Region 8 should have 90% water coverage. The new system at Kaieteur will now see 95% coverage in the community, and the Ministry of Housing said prior to the implementation of this project, the existing shallow well system was insufficient to supply water to the entire community. As such, only households and public buildings close to the old system received water. And at this time, as usual, we wrap things up by being a little blunt with the page 7 of today's Kaieteur News. Guyanese not supporting Guyanese. How can you, Brother Alex Graham? When Guyanese go against Guyanese, it is a sad day. When Guyanese go on like this, then the oil would go with little benefit. A few Guyanese do very well. Most Guyanese, of course, do very poorly. Exxon is enriched. Guyanese are impoverished. How can you, Brother Alex Graham? That brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. call us on 225-8465